Hello and welcome to the Andrew Plays channel. We're here today for a little bit of an experiment. You always hear about players having too much power. They've managed to get managers sacked. That they can purposely underperform in order to make the manager look bad. We've had accusations against Chelsea players, against Manchester United players, against any team that Jose Mourinho has managed. And we always say, they've got too much power. They don't get the blame the way the manager does. So today, my experiment is going to be to see what would happen in a scenario where the players did have the power. What we've done for this experiment is we've gone into each Premier League team, sacked their manager, and their new manager is their current captain. With Arsenal, we have gone with Granit Xhaka because I haven't got an update, but obviously Aubameyang is not there, so he got stripped of his captaincy. We're not counting him. Granit Xhaka was vice-captain. He gets to be the manager. Aston Villa have promoted Tyrone Mings to captain. Brentford, Pontus Jansson. Brighton, Lewis Dunk. Burnley, Ben Mee. Chelsea, Cesar Azpilicueta. Crystal Palace have gone and got Luka Milivojevic. Everton with Seamus Coleman. Leeds with Liam Cooper. Leicester with Kasper Schmeichel. Liverpool with Jordan Henderson. Manchester City with Fernandinho. Manchester United with Harry Maguire. Newcastle with Jamal Lascelles. Norwich with Grant Hanley. Southampton with James Ward-Prowse. Tottenham with Hugo Lloris. Watford with Tom Cleverley. West Ham with Mark Noble. And Wolves with Connor Cody. Another little thing that will be interesting to have a look at is, let's take West Ham, for example, where Mark Noble, not a starter for them every week now. Be interesting to see, does he play himself over the likes of Vlasic or Souček? Tom Cleverley, is he going to start himself? What will Harry Maguire make of his position? Because we know what a lot of people think of him in real life. Is he going to drop himself in the game? These will all be little things to have a look at. What I've done is I've set them up so they're on a 5-year contract, and then after 5 years they would be joining PSG on a free transfer. So in theory, that should mean that we don't get them sacked. It's going to be interesting to see what captain managers are able to take their teams, further up the league than you would expect. Let me know down below, who do you think is going to be one of the best player managers? Having a look at this table here, you've obviously got still the side of it where, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea have got an advantage because they have the better teams. But can the captain manage those personalities the way that managers, we so often say, struggle to? Is that going to reflect? Are we going to get a shock winner? We've got 5 years to see if they do. And also, it'll be interesting to see how they perform against the other teams in the Champions League as well. What we'll do, we'll advance for the first season and just have a look at the lay of the land after one season. Just before we go ahead and advance that season, if you are liking the sound of this, please do leave a like down below. Comment a prediction. Who do you think is going to win the most league titles? Is one of the teams going to win a Champions League? And also subscribe if you're enjoying this. We can have a look at some other experiments. I have got a couple of things in mind where we bring back like the biggest legend player and make them the manager. So for Manchester United it might be Ryan Giggs. For Chelsea, maybe Didier Drogba or Frank Lampard returns again. Arsenal could bring in Patrick Vieira. Things like that. That's my next plan. We're going to go through and, on Manchester City, for example, have a look at legends and pick whoever is top in this list and make them the manager. The only rule in being they have to be a legend as a player, not a legend as a manager. So Manchester City wouldn't be able to have Pep Guardiola, for example. They would have to have David Silva. I think that could be a fun experiment as well. But without any further things to say here, let's go see what happens after season 1.
A few minutes later.
So we've advanced through to the end of the first season, and the first thing we notice, the Arsenal job's available. Okay, what's happened here? So Granit Xhaka appears to be gone. He resigned after the first season. He had a decent season from the looks of it. Let's have a look at how the league actually went. Arsenal, they got Champions League football, which really makes you question why they sacked the manager. It will also interesting to see how bringing in an actual manager benefits Arsenal. Are they going to go and absolutely crush the league now because they've got somebody who's, as I say, an actual manager? Is that going to massively benefit them? First season, Liverpool have pipped Manchester City to the title by a single point. Let's have a quick look. Did it come down to the final day? Oh my goodness. Manchester City lost 2-1 to Brighton on the final day, which cost them the league title. If they'd even drawn, they'd have won it on goal difference, because that would be... No, they'd have lost it on goals scored. So that was a very tense final day. I think going into it, I don't think Liverpool fans would have had much belief. Manchester United get top 4. Chelsea and Tottenham round out the top 6. Aston Villa having a good season under Tyrone Mings. However, Jamal Lascelles gets Newcastle sacked. He is still there though. Norwich still got their manager. Liam Cooper's still there. Let's have a little look at manager movements from last season. It was only Granit Xhaka that changed. And what we'll do, we'll have a look at the Champions League at the end and have a look at all of the European competitions, to be fair. But we'll have a look at them in one final go at the end. Let me know if there's anything that in particular that shocked you here. It looks like West Ham must have won the Europa League. So fair play to Mark Noble. Did he do that by playing himself, I wonder? He played himself 11 times, so, you know, he was pretty modest. Manchester United, Harry Maguire, let's have a look. Did he drop himself? He did not drop himself. 34 games played. Was there anyone else that was particularly... I mean, I don't know how much I'd expect Cesar Azpilicueta to play for Chelsea, to be honest. 32 times, so it looks like he very much backed himself in that team. But he also got a 7.12 rating, so it does seem to have paid off for him. What about Seamus Coleman? 11 times, so he's bought himself, a bit of time, but not gone too much with it. Outside of that, there's not really anyone that was like a captain that you wouldn't expect to be starting most weeks. I suppose, actually, you could say Fernandinho fits into that. Played himself 29 times. Up from the season before he was manager. Is that a bit of his influence saying I'm better than Rodri anyway? Possibly. But what we'll do is we'll advance through now to the end of the 5th season, the end of their contracts, and have a look who's won the league titles and also who's won the Champions League. Has another team won the Europa League, as Mark Noble took West Ham to Premier League glory in the end? Let's go and have a look.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So what we can see straight off the bat here, Tyrone Mings, Kasper Schmeichel, both insecure in their roles. I wonder how Arsenal did get on with their new manager. Let's have a little look at what's been going on over the last few years. So in the second season, it was Liverpool again winning the title. Manchester United finished in second. Arsenal actually did worse that year without Granit Xhaka at the helm. Let's have a little look. We'll come to their previous managers in just a moment. Tottenham appear to have won the Europa League because they've qualified for the Champions League. And the two of the teams that came up got relegated straight back down. Whereas Sheffield United, with their manager, did manage to stay up. Did the teams that went down come straight back up? Newcastle and Leeds did. Norwich finished just outside the playoff spots. And then what happened after that? They lost to Blackburn in the final. So unlucky for Norwich there. But overall, not too much in the way of shocks. Leicester don't seem to have done well so far with this 11th and 9th. Whereas, in real life, they've just finished outside the Champions League spots twice. But still good seasons for them. If a little underwhelming, I would say. Brighton doing very well. West Ham did drop off, but would you expect that because they were playing Champions League football? The following year, it was Manchester City's turn to win the title, 2 points ahead of Liverpool. Manchester United remaining in the top 4, and then Tottenham jumping in to replace Chelsea, won the Europa League, and then also managed to qualify for the Champions League. Arsenal dropping all the way down to 7th, and they're well off the pace of Aston Villa. They also lose out on European football completely as a result of Newcastle. I'm guessing Newcastle must have won the Europa Conference League, which then meant Villa got the Conference League spot. Or perhaps they won the Carabao Cup or FA Cup as well. Those could also have been things. Connor Cody gets relegated with Wolves, and Leeds have still got Liam Cooper. That's after 5 years, so he did get them back up, but he did get relegated again. Blackburn go straight back down. It's going to be interesting to see how Sheffield United do with real managers coming into the league. Is that experience going to help them? It didn't help Blackburn, but has it helped Sheffield United climb up the table a bit further? It didn't. They then got relegated. Liverpool win the title again, well clear of Manchester United. Everton finishing 4th. Seamus Coleman perhaps winding down his career at that point, able to guide them into the top 4. Can they nick a league title? Perhaps. West Ham as well. Mark Noble doing fantastic for them. Is that where the players aren't being players anymore and they're just managing the teams that's helping them push on? Villa, again, a strong season. They're well off the pace for the top 7. Arsenal dropping down again, though, down to 10th. Are they going to be in the bottom half when they're one of the only teams with a real manager? That just seems crazy to me. Watford doing very well under Tom Cleverley. Again, he's probably not playing very much. Is that benefiting them? Is he able to kind of sit there and say, look, as manager, he doesn't look like he's giving himself bias, perhaps. That's helping the team stick together. Norwich still got Grant Hanley in charge. He has changed the captain. That'd be interesting to have a look at. We'll have a look at that at the end of the 5 seasons. Just have a look at who's left themselves as captain and things like that. The following year, it was Liverpool again, finishing 6 points clear of Chelsea. Not quite as convincing this time. But Manchester United drop out of the top 4 for the first time. Arsenal bounce back massively this season. Maybe a change of manager has helped them hugely there. Crystal Palace with a fantastic season. West Ham struggling this year. But again, they were in European football. Maybe they're just not built for that. West Brom come into the division and absolutely light it up, finishing all the way up in 9th. Leeds having a good season. Leicester nearly getting relegated. Kasper Schmeichel not really the manager they need at the moment. Although the 3 teams with real managers at the bottom there all get relegated. Fulham, Blackburn and Stoke. And then, of course, that's the end of the Premier League side of things, because the next one is the start of the new season. Let's have a look at general manager movement. So we only had Granit Xhaka in the first season. He was actually replaced by Jurgen Klopp. Brendan Rodgers went to Fulham, Coleman to Sheffield United, of course. Those guys having their real life managers to begin with. Jurgen Klopp then got sacked and replaced by Dan Michiche for the rest of the season in February. Again, not going well for Arsenal. Pep Guardiola came in and then he got sacked as well. So that was in 2024. Let's have a quick look at what was happening. That was December 2024. So it was the season they finished 10th. So it must have been really poor for Arsenal at that point. We can't actually go back and see, unfortunately. But they replaced him with Zinedine Zidane, who the following year, I assume it was him, did take them into the Champions League. So it's only Arsenal that have had any manager changes, which is good to see. Mostly the experiment worked absolutely fine. Now let's have a quick look at the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. There's potential here, I would say, for some upsets, given some of the lower league teams might have been able to take advantage of better experienced managers. First season, Manchester City beat West Ham 3-0 in the final of the FA Cup after extra time. So they went to extra time and then scored 3 goals. Ridiculous. Manchester United beat Tottenham. Newcastle beating Sheffield United on penalties. That's a bit of a shock too in there. That would be how Newcastle got European football that one year as well. And Sheffield United very unlucky, to be fair to them. Then following that, it was back to a bit more normal. Liverpool with a 3-0 win against Tottenham. And most recently, Liverpool win it again with a win on penalties after a 2-2 draw with Manchester City. Carabao Cup first season was won by Chelsea on penalties against Liverpool. Manchester United beating Burnley in fair play to Burnley getting to the final. Then Chelsea won it again, beating Manchester United in the final. Liverpool beating Manchester United in the final on penalties. And then most recently, Liverpool winning in extra time against Tottenham. So Manchester United, despite getting to 3 finals, only winning it once under Harry Maguire. Let's have a little look through the teams and just see whether their manager was still playing themselves this late on. So Tyrone Mings, not really, only 11 games, age 33. And he has also replaced himself as captain, naming Danny Ings. Bournemouth have a actual manager in Scott Parker. Brighton, Lewis Dunk has replaced himself as captain with Firpo. Let's have a little look. He was still playing himself quite a bit, particularly in the Championship. I think that almost looks like he kind of goes, right, I'm not good enough for the Premier League, but the Championship, I can do bits. So he did well in that side of things. Ben Mee, age 36, has replaced himself as captain. He hasn't been playing much recently, so what was that? 2 seasons in, he then really dropped his appearances down to 8, 5 and 2. So fair play to him. He's taken himself out of the fold, put himself into a more of a manager position. And in that final season, the 2 appearances were both off the bench as well. Chelsea Cesar Azpilicueta has named Romelu Lukaku as the manager. Only 8 appearances for him last season, so again, he is bringing them down. Crystal Palace, Milivojevic, let's have a look. He hasn't played for 2 seasons, and before that it was 1 appearance off the bench. So he's very much dropped himself. Zaha's captain. No surprises there, really. Seamus Coleman has not played for 3 years. And the year before that, he only played once off the bench. So he's very much had a change in his position in the club. Liam Cooper, after he's had them relegated a couple of times, he did manage to play himself quite a bit, particularly in the Championship. 41 appearances there, and then 14 the second time they got relegated. He was definitely one of the weaker managers, I would say. They had a fantastic year the one year, but they did get relegated a lot. I think they finished 9th the one year. No, it was West Brom. What am I talking about? Ignore me. Leeds not really got on with having him in goal. Kasper Schmeichel, this will be an interesting one because a goalkeeper as manager could have played himself a lot. He actually played himself for the first and most of the second season, then withdrew himself. He came on as a sub in 1 game, so I wonder what happened to cause that. And I'm guessing he's probably been on the bench in these games, but as I say, he's dropped himself. It takes a big man to do that. Fair play to him. Jordan Henderson, let's have a little look. He's largely kept himself in the team, so it wasn't due to an injury that he was really out of the team. I think he just kind of chose to drop himself that one season. 24-25. Let's have a quick look. How did they do that year? They did win the league, so a correct decision from him. Fernandinho, it's unlikely he played a lot after. To be fair, he still played himself for most of the second season. A little bit in the third season. 38, he was still playing himself. Admittedly, only once off the bench. But, it's something he was doing. Manchester United and Harry Maguire did replace himself as captain, naming Bruno Fernandes. But did play himself through pretty much everything. Dropped himself during 24-25 season. He had a broken leg in that season. That will be why he dropped himself. I think that was also the year they finished outside the top 4. No, it wasn't. Never mind. Newcastle, Jamal Lascelles. Obviously, they've got a lot of money. So it'll be interesting. Did he... basically, he got them relegated. He got them back up and just kind of benched himself, or just took on the manager role, which I'm guessing because Newcastle signed a lot of players with... they've got a lot of money. He's actually put himself in the under-23s, which is a little bit funny. That kind of makes sense because he's probably been put in a position he could spend that money and rest the other players. Southampton, let's have a little look. at James Ward-Prowse. Only 31, so I could see him playing quite a lot, and it reflects that as well. At age 31, you kind of expect that, and also he's a very good player, so I can completely understand why he's played. He actually played every game the 1 year and started every single one as well. So fair play to him for the consistency of his performance as well. Hugo Lloris, another one that could potentially have played himself quite a lot. Didn't play himself in the first season very much, but then after that played himself significantly. Was there an injury for him in the first season? He did have a damaged elbow. No, that was just before. So he wasn't injured. He just seemed to not play himself that first season. Maybe, getting himself settled in. Watford and West Brom had real managers. Mark Noble, I'm assuming, would have dropped himself quite early on. He did exactly that. And Connor Cody, age 33 now. He played himself quite a lot. They've actually spent 2 seasons in the Championship. Out of interest, what caused them to not get promoted at the first attempt? Lost in the playoffs. Was it in the final? It was to Blackburn again. Blackburn denying some teams getting promoted back up. Where are Norwich in all of this? They're in the Championship. Always been floating between the two. They've been a bit of a yo-yo club throughout. Brentford, we didn't really see them come back up once they went down. They were always up there, but never Pontus Jansson not able to lead them back into the Premier League. Anybody else stuck down here? No, there's not. So, final thing to have a look at then. How did the Champions League go? Slight change of plan. We're going to start with the Europa Conference League and work our way up to the Champions League. So, Tottenham won it in the first season against Roma in the final. Pretty big pair of teams for a Europa Conference final, if we're being honest. The next year, Betis beat Lille. A little bit more what you kind of expect from the Conference League. Sevilla beat Betis. So, Betis nearly retaining it there. Then Young Boys beating Marseille. That's a bit of an upset there. And Marseille, it's unfortunate to see that happen to them, given our ties to them from the unknown to world known. If you've into that type of series, started Unemployed, go and check it out. I will leave a link just up here or up here. I don't know which way around it is these days, but I'll leave a link to it also down below as well. We started off in the Swedish third tier. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go and check it out. We've actually got an episode coming out tomorrow where we might be at a new club. And then most recently, Chelsea beat Valencia 3-0 in the final. So Chelsea dropping down to it, but making quick work of it while they're there. Europa League, as expected, West Ham did win that against Villarreal in the final. Fair play to them. Tottenham beat Barcelona in a Europa League final. What on earth is that sentence? Milan beat Arsenal on penalties at Hampton Park, no less. So, unlucky for Arsenal, losing in the final. Dortmund beat Hoffenheim, all-German final there. And then most recently, Tottenham beat AC Milan in Istanbul on penalties, doing what Arsenal couldn't, you could say. But we'll leave the North London arguments for other people. And Champions League-wise, the first year it was won by Bayern Munich on penalties against Juventus. So that year, was it a case of the English club struggling to adapt to... It was a little bit... 3 of them went out in the quarter-final. And to be fair, one of them was playing another English club. The following year, Juventus did win the Champions League. Manchester United losing in the final. Liverpool knocked out in the semi-final. Porto had a great run here. Oh, then again... Porto had a bit of luck in their run. They beat Real Madrid, but then did get Ajax and then got thrashed by Manchester United. But nevertheless, decent for them. An all-English final with managers that are captains. Liverpool beating Manchester City in the final for their 7th Champions League. That's got a sting, particularly for the Manchester clubs when it was Manchester United that got knocked out. Liverpool then won it again, retaining the title by beating Juventus. That year they knocked Tottenham out and then Real Madrid. And also, what was there of a tie? Bayern Munich. That's a hell of a run to the Champions League title. I've got to have a look. What was their group? So they had a group of Barcelona, PSV, and Celtic. They then beat Bayern Munich, beat Real Madrid, beat Tottenham, and beat Juventus. What a run. And most recently, it was Manchester City winning it 3-0 against Roma. Bit of a shock to see Roma in the final. Everton got to the semi-final as well. Fair play to them. So that kind of wraps up our experiment here. If you want to see the one where we stick the legends as managers, let me know down below. Let me know who you think performed best in the overall, in like the 5 years. I think it's got to be Jordan Henderson. At the end of the day, he won 4 league titles and 2 Champions Leagues and a couple of like FA Cups and Carabao Cups along the way. Fantastic performance from Jordan Henderson as a manager. Is that in his future? The game seems to think so. If you have enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Comment what you want to see next. As I say, I'm looking at doing a Legends one possibly next week. It depends how busy I am in the week with work, but it will be coming. I will tell you that much. So subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when it does come out. Check out my other series, Unknown to World Known. We're currently on Club 5 as of tomorrow. So fantastic journey we've had there so far. And going to be looking at what else I can do coming up soon. I've got a couple of ideas in mind of kind of build a nation type saves. So yeah, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can keep up to date. And thank you very much for watching.